Hey guys, Constance here. Welcome back to Good Life Farm. So today I am in my laundry room slash pantry. It's pantry on this side, laundry room on that side. And I definitely don't film in here very often. However, I do once in a blue moon, especially if I'm going to be talking about canning. This particular video is actually part of a collaboration that was organized by Leanne at Mennonite Farmhouse. And all of the channels are going to be sharing their videos on the same day. And what we are talking about are the 5 things we would definitely can again, and 5 things that we definitely would not want to can again. And for some people, it could be because they realized they weren't canning it the right way, or it could be because they simply didn't like it, or maybe their eating habits, their diet has changed, and there's things that they canned that they just don't really consume anymore. And so this is what we are going to be sharing. So it might be a really fun way for you to be introduced to some new canning things. And you know, if a whole bunch of people mention that there's something in particular that they're not going to can again, chances are you might not want to give it a try if you start seeing a pattern like that. So to begin, I am going to share 5 things that I would definitely can again. And most of these I would say are things that I have canned more than once. So you definitely know that it's something I would can again. Alright, so of course all of the typical garden veggies like the green beans, the diced tomatoes, things like that kind of go without saying. So I am going to talk about some things that not everybody cans. First up is potatoes. Now I have canned so many quarts of potatoes. You can see some down here. I have a whole shelf of them over there where I just did 24 quarts. I think it was last week. And I always keep canned potatoes on my shelf. And that might seem a little bit unusual. A lot of people will keep them in their root cellar or basement and have potatoes anytime. We have neither of those here on our property. We don't have a root cellar and we don't have a basement. And if I bring potatoes home from the grocery store, they are growing roots within a week. And so the only way for me to have shelf-stable potatoes is to can them. And we eat canned potatoes all the time. We love them. Most often I turn them into cheesy smashed potatoes, and it's super easy, it's super fast, and it's delicious. And it's way better than a packet of your flavored instant potatoes. So much better for you and tastes a lot better. So potatoes would be my first maybe unusual sort of thing. I think number 2 would be an unusual jelly that most people have no idea you can even make, and that is honeysuckle. I make a honeysuckle jelly from the honeysuckle that grows here on our homestead, and it has a very unique flavor. It's really hard to describe, but it's so good, and people absolutely love it when I give them a jar of honeysuckle jelly, and people will ask for it. They'll ask if I have any more of that, and one person told me recently it was the best jelly that they have ever tasted in their life. Another favorite jelly is strawberry jalapeno. That is one that is requested all the time. My husband gets very upset if we don't have any on the shelf, which at this moment we don't have any on the shelf. So I will definitely be making some this year. I intended to make some last year, and I got really busy, and by the time I realized it, strawberry season was already over, and so I will definitely be making some of that this year. I do have the recipe for the honeysuckle jelly as well as the strawberry jalapeno jelly on my website. I'll put a link to those down below. Let's see, what else? Oh, this is one that I have to make all the time, and this is my very last jar, and it is my husband's absolute favorite spicy dill pickles. He devours these things. When I made my last batch of them, I want to say, gosh, I can't even remember how many pints of them I made. I had an entire shelf filled with these pickles, and this is the very last jar. So I will be making more of these this year for Mr. Smith, because he will be very upset if I don't have any more of these on the shelf. He can eat a whole jar in one sitting. It's a little crazy. That recipe is also on my website. Okay, so let me think. Got the potatoes. We got the pickles. We got the honeysuckle jelly. The strawberry jelly. Let me pick one more thing. What's one more thing? Oh, I know. Sloppy Joes. I would categorize this as a convenience meal. Now, some people will just can the sauce that you would use for the meat. This already has the meat in it, so all you've got to do is open the jar, heat it up, and then you can serve it on buns like a typical Sloppy Joe. We do it in stuffed baked potatoes. I do it over French fries with melted cheese. I mean, you can do so many different things with this. It's a very multi-purpose sort of thing, and I have canned this multiple times. This is something that I have people ask if I'd be willing to spare a jar from time to time, and so I will always have this on my shelf. Alright, so now for the things I'm not going to can again. And I actually had to really think about it a bit, because there aren't very many things that I won't can again. There are things that I won't can as much of. For instance, when I can carrots, I much prefer to can just carrots with a little bit of salt in water, you know, unflavored and all of that, because I use them for so many things. I use them for soups, you can use them for a quick side dish, so they can have multiple purposes, like, you know, your green beans or your potatoes. However, about 2 years ago, I canned glazed carrots, brown sugar glazed carrots, and they are delicious. They're so good. You just, you know, dump them in a saucepan, warm them up, you got a quick side dish. The problem is I made way too many. So there's things that I won't make as much of in the future, but there are very few things that I won't make at all. Let me think. Okay, dilly beans. I know, so many people seem to love dilly beans. And it was one of the first recipes that I tried because I heard so many people loved them. We did not love them. Now, I love the flavor of dill. I like dill and potato salad. I like dill pickles. But I did not like them dilly beans. There was just something about them. I didn't like them. Mr. Smith didn't like them. And I've never made them again. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even find anybody to take them, and I'm pretty sure we fed them to the chickens. Okay, so that's one. What else? I'm really having to think hard on this, because like I said, there's very few things that I won't do again. Okay, there's a couple of soups that we really don't like. One is a split pea soup that, and I'm probably just going to end up dumping these jars out. There's a couple of them up here. We just didn't like it. I have a homemade split pea soup that I have made for years and years and years. We love it. I have made some alterations to the way I make it. Now, the recipe on my website has not changed, but I've made a few changes for the way that I make it for our household. And we love that recipe. And so I thought I would try a split pea canning recipe, and this one I believe is out of the Ball Blue book. We just didn't like it. We just didn't like it at all. And so we won't make this again. There's a couple of soups that I made that we weren't too sure on, just because the texture wasn't great. The vegetables were just way too soft, and we just weren't huge fans of them. And so that is why I do can a lot more ingredients, like the potatoes and the carrots and the green beans and all of that. And there's not a lot of, there's not too many pre-made things like dump and heat and eat kinds of things, other than of course the sloppy joes and another version of that I have coming out in the next, I think it'll be coming up on my channel in about 2 weeks. It's very similar to it. Not quite the same, but very similar. Okay, I have 2 more things. Let me take a sip of my coffee here real quick. So the other 2 things that I know right off the bat I won't can again is barbecue pork and seasoned pork. And it's not that there is anything wrong with these recipes. I think they were fine. They preserved fine. The flavor was fine. The texture was great. I mean, the meat was super, super tender and all that. But the reason I'm not going to can these again might be a little unusual and probably not the typical answer that you would get from people who are doing this collaboration. Quite frankly, it's because I don't eat pork anymore. I gave up eating pork a little while back, and I just don't eat it anymore, and so I'm not going to can something that I don't eat. Yeah, so the barbecue pork, the seasoned pork, the split pea soup, the dilly beans. Did I mention something else? I'm trying to remember now. Well, I think that might be it. I really can't think of anything else that I won't can again. And like I said, there's things that I just won't make as much of in the future, but I can't think of anything else that I made that we just didn't like or didn't eat. Yeah. Well, I guess that is it. Oh, nope, I take it back. I can see there's one jar back up there in the far corner, which I don't think you can see on camera. It was zucchini pickles. We just didn't like them. They tasted, if you like bread and butter pickles, they tasted just like a bread and butter pickle, but of course they were zucchini as opposed to a cucumber. We are not huge fans of the bread and butter pickles, and so we just really did not like the zucchini pickles. And so that's not something that I'll make again. And as a matter of fact, I've got a few things here that I'll be taking off the shelf in the very near future to make room for other things that I will be canning and things that we definitely will enjoy in the future. Alrighty, so that is my answers for the things that we will definitely can again and things that we won't can again. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is a collaboration, and the other channels that are participating are all posting their videos today as well. And Leanne over at Mennonite Farmhouse is putting together a playlist, so you can find that down below. And the other channels that are participating, I would just want to read them off for you so that you can head on over there and check them out. We have Tulilo Creates, The Needy Homesteader, Freedom Homestead, Diane the Canning Nana, Mudbrooker, Mouse Toes, Fermented Homestead, Our Hodgepodge Homestead, Becoming a Farm Girl, What's Up Family Home, Our Big's Adventure, Boots and Bounty Homestead, All Sorts, My Table of Three, and Stringfield Ridge Farm. And then of course our hostess, Leanne at Mennonite Farmhouse. So be sure to check out all of the other channels and see what kinds of things they want to can again and what they don't want to can. I am looking forward to watching all of their videos myself and maybe getting some ideas for some future canning sessions. So if you are brand new here to the channel and coming for your very first visit, my name is Constance and my husband and I are homesteaders in northern Alabama. I am also a writer, a blogger, and I have two websites, agoodlifefarm.com and wholesomeskillet.com. And over there you can find hundreds of recipes. And if you would like to stay up to date on everything that happens here at the homestead, be sure to sign up for my free email newsletter, which you can find linked down below. So thank you to Leanne for organizing this collaboration, and thanks for joining me here again in the homestead pantry. My name is Constance at A Good Life Farm, and I'll talk to y'all next time.